Back at the NBA draft, the Lakers made a bold but at the time heavily criticized move by taking Adou Thiero, and even trading up just to get him. They jumped from 55th up to 36th to take Thiero, a choice most fans hated and thought was a waste. But now fans seem to have flipped, going from calling it a terrible pick to admitting it actually looks smart. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith probably forced that change. A week later, they lost Dorian Finney-Smith in free agency, one of their only real forwards in the rotation. Drafting Adou Thiero helped cover that hole and made fans feel a bit better about losing Finney-Smith. Then adding Jake LaRavia on top of it only pushed the narrative further. Still, beyond that, fans now see Thiaro's potential and many are oddly optimistic about him. So with that in mind here, we're going to look at Thiero from both a short-term and long-term view. Why the Lakers drafted him, what they realistically expect this season, and whether he can stick as just an injury replacement or maybe even impress JJ Redick enough to earn a real spot in the rotation. We'll dig into that and break it down. To break it all down here, the clearest path for Adou Thiero to get real minutes, and probably why the Lakers even drafted him, is as an injury replacement behind guys like Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, Rui Hachimura, and so on. Most of those players have been constantly banged up. Vanderbilt only played 36 games last season, and barely around 50 over the last 2 years. Marcus Smart is no better, only managing 34 last year and just 20 in 2023-24, adding up to a pathetic 54 games across 4 years. Even Jake LaRavia, though he hit nearly 70 games last season, played just 35 combined in his first 2 years. Rui Hachimura isn't exactly reliable either, with 59 games last season, missing 23, and he usually misses 20 to 30 every year. That's almost definitely why the Lakers went for Thiero, beyond losing Dorian Finney-Smith, because they clearly knew their rotation is full of fragile players. In other words, he's there to step in whenever Vanderbilt, Smart, LaRavia, or Hachimura go down, which history shows they will. From that angle alone, the pick wasn't just safe, it was necessary. Pretty good injury insurance, and while right now I'd still rank Adou Thiero behind guys like Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, Marcus Smart, and Rui Hachimura, there's still a pathway for him to get playing time. Maybe not by fully jumping ahead of them in the rotation, but in certain matchups, or more realistically, when they get hurt, he'll end up on the floor. In my opinion, the key to that is his defensive playmaking. In his third and final year of college, Thiero averaged 1.6 blocks per game in just 27.5 minutes. Stretch that out to per 36, and it's more than 2 a game. If you dive into the advanced stats, he posted a 3.4% steal rate last season and a block rate over 10%. That shows he's capable of being a true defensive disruptor. Jumping passing lanes, locking up one-on-one, getting deflections, and just flat-out forcing turnovers. That's something this Lakers roster is badly lacking. Sure, Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart can bring some of that, but let's be honest, they're either injured or inconsistent half the time. Thiero could easily take advantage of that and force the coaching staff to give him real minutes. Pretty good injury insurance, and while right now I'd still rank Adou Thiero behind guys like Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, Marcus Smart, and Rui Hachimura, there's still a pathway for him to get playing time. Maybe not by fully jumping ahead of them in the rotation, but in certain matchups, or more realistically, when they get hurt, he'll end up on the floor. In my opinion, the key to that is his defensive playmaking. In his third and final year of college, Thiero averaged 1.6 blocks per game in just 27.5 minutes. Stretch that out to per 36, and it's more than 2 a game. If you dive into the advanced stats, he posted a 3.4% steal rate last season and a block rate over 10%. That shows he's capable of being a true defensive disruptor. Jumping passing lanes, locking up one-on-one, getting deflections, and just flat-out forcing turnovers. That's something this Lakers roster is badly lacking. Sure, Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart can bring some of that, but let's be honest, they're either injured or inconsistent half the time. Thiero could easily take advantage of that and force the coaching staff to give him real minutes. Having a true defensive playmaker is rare on this roster. Luka isn't terrible. He'll jump a passing lane once in a while. LeBron still does it here and there, but let's be real, he's turning 41 soon. LaRavia is decent as a defender, but outside of Smart and Vanderbilt, this team doesn't really have anyone who can both disrupt plays and actually guard at a high level. That's exactly where Thiero comes in. He's an elite athlete, a proven college defender, and a playmaker on that end of the floor. The athletic jump to the NBA isn't something to stress about with him. He still stands out even by NBA standards. We're talking about a 40-inch vertical, a massive wingspan, and the strength to handle it. He's the type of guy who can guard 1 through 4 right away. And yes, I believe that even at the NBA level, from day one, he can provide that. There's really no question about his defense, his instincts, or his athleticism. Add in his toughness and physicality, and he brings something this Lakers roster has been missing badly. Does have a pretty well-built frame even for a rookie. I'm not worried about that with Adou Thiero. So if it would come down to it, and again primarily from an injury replacement, I think that's why they like a duo even as a rookie. And yes, while I would be a bit concerned with his three-point shooting after all, he was only a 28% three-point shooter in college. That's not something that stopped JJ before with players in the court and especially with good defensive options. I mean, obviously with Jared Vanderbilt, didn't have a career-high minutes per game last season or anything, but did get a pretty quality amount of 16.1 per game with JJ Redick. Probably would have been even more if he was a slightly better three-point shooter or even a slightly better offensive player in general, which in my opinion, Adou Thiero does have the ability to do. Whether you're talking about the 28% from three-point line that Vanderbilt shot last season, Adou Thiero can do that to my opinion. Or if you're talking about offense and apart from three-point shooting, I think Adou Thiero actually has a lot more ability than Jared Vanderbilt currently does. Whether you're talking about on-ball creation, skill-wise, Adem Bona is actually a better ball handler than Jared Vanderbilt in my opinion. He's more athletic, more explosive, and better at attacking defenders off the dribble, getting to the rim and forcing penetration. That's already an upgrade compared to the current version of Vanderbilt or even someone like Jordan Goodwin. Remember, Goodwin once got minutes as a two-way guy before the Lakers bumped him up to a full roster spot, even though he was never known as a shooter. Before last season, he had never hit more than 32% from three in his career. Yet once he joined the Lakers and was pigeonholed as just a defensive piece, he suddenly shot 38.2% from deep. That's what happens when you're playing next to Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. Defenses are so focused on them that you get easy looks. That's the exact type of boost Bona could get if he settles in as a corner shooter. Basically, he wouldn't need to create his own shot just like Goodwin, who ended up taking about half his threes from the corner thanks to the gravity of the stars around him. Jordan Goodwin ended up hitting 42% of his corner threes, and that's the type of shot Bona will keep getting. Playing next to Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, he's going to be left wide open, especially if he plants himself in that corner. Beyond that, he can become a smart baseline cutter. Sure, he'll probably be parked in the corner most of the time, but with good timing on backdoor cuts, he could punish defenses. Even in the dunker spot, he could make an impact. Now, I don't expect him to be a full-time rotation player, not someone in there every night, but if Vanderbilt, Smart, or LaRavia go down, I don't think JJ Redick would hesitate to give Bona a shot. We've seen it before with Vanderbilt and Goodwin, guys who aren't shooters but still benefit from the gravity of Luka, LeBron, and Austin, while using their defensive playmaking to stick. I honestly think Redick would put Bona on the floor if needed, and he wouldn't even second-guess it. In fact, it could play out like a repeat of the Goodwin story, where a limited player ends up looking far more valuable in the right role. At that point, he might even overachieve on offense compared to what people expect, while still being able to hold his own defensively. That's exactly the kind of surprise Bona could bring, and honestly, I'm fairly optimistic about it too. If we were talking about an 18 or 19-year-old one-and-done freshman, I'd probably be more cautious. But that's not the case here with Bona. He spent 3 years in college, all at high-level D1 programs, starting at Kentucky before transferring to Arkansas, and improved every single season. Sure, the three-point shot never really came along, but outside of that, his game grew in almost every area. Scoring, ball handling, cutting off the ball, defense, playmaking on defense, rebounding, you name it, he showed steady growth. He can guard 1 through 4 on the court, and in the right scheme or if his jumper develops, he could even play 2 through 4. That's why I feel confident in Bona. His background isn't just hype. It shows real development and maturity, something the Lakers badly need in a young player. I like almost everything he brings except the three-point shooting. That said, I think JJ Redick is actually confident in Bona and eager to see what more he can show on the court compared to what he flashed in college. And to be clear, this is mostly about the long-term outlook. I think Redick would be fine testing him this season, mainly as an injury replacement, or maybe if he looks so good in practice and camp that he forces his way into some minutes. But again, the real plan is long-term. Slowly working him in, not throwing him straight into the fire and crushing his confidence if he struggles early. I think Redick will give him a shot without overreacting either way. But the real judgment is going to be 1 or 2 years down the road, maybe even 3, not just this season. He won't be a bust if he doesn't immediately produce. He won't be a bust if he doesn't crack the rotation right away. That's not what the pick was about. It was about upside, patience, and building a piece that could stick for the future. Him actually being able to fill that void for them and being able to go into something much more than he currently is. I really like the outlook here with the duo, and the Lakers coming department clearly saw that in him too. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Lakers rookie Adou Thiero from both a short-term and a long-term perspective? How do you feel about the Lakers drafting him? What they might be able to get from him and potentially even this season? And how do you feel about him from a long-term perspective too, potentially many years down the road, and how long it might take him for him to reach his potential if ever? Let me know your thoughts and your expectations for Adou Thiero in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.